I was completely blindsided when I ran into an old friend who casually remarked, "Man, your wife really stood out at that last partner swapping thing. Didn't peg you two for that lifestyle." His words landed like a punch to the gut. I wasn't into that kind of thing, had never been. And just like that, my world tilted off its axis. It happened at a car wash of all places. I ran into Ben, someone I hadn't seen since college. We'd been inseparable back then. Those chaotic 2 a.m. pizza runs, brutal hangovers that bled into the next week, and deep conversations about dreams we never had the nerve to chase. He looked older now, heavier, beard hiding most of his face, but that mischievous grin was still the same. "Jake, no freaking way," he said, clapping my back. We caught up quickly. Life, work, old friends, the slow grind of our 30s. And then, completely out of nowhere, he dropped that comment like it was nothing. First, I laughed. I thought it was some kind of weird joke. But then I saw his expression, dead serious. My chest tightened. "She said it was your idea to stay anonymous," he added, still smiling. "Didn't know you were into that scene." I didn't say a word. Couldn't. Because in that moment, 2 terrifying truths hit me. First, he wasn't lying. Second, I didn't know the woman I'd married at all. I didn't confront her that night. No yelling, no storming out. Because when someone lies to you on that level, reacting emotionally just hands them control. I needed her to believe I hadn't caught on. While she showered, I sat on the edge of the bed, staring blankly at her charger like it might whisper answers. What else had I missed? What had I been blind to all this time? For the next 2 weeks, I played the role of the clueless husband. I smiled when she smiled, laughed when she laughed. While behind the scenes I was digging. The first crack appeared on her laptop. She left it open on the dining table like she had nothing to hide. Maybe she truly thought I'd never look. She was right until that day. In her downloads folder were files, event guidelines, guest lists, consent forms. One name kept popping up, tied to hers each time. And next to it, the same note over and over, "Spouse Jake, not attending." I had no idea these types of events even existed, and yet, my name had been silently attending them for over a year. She had used me as her cover, her silent permission slip. Next came her apps. She used encrypted messaging Signal, but she'd made one critical mistake. Her desktop notifications were still active. As I combed through her browsing history, a pop-up message appeared. "Can't wait to see you again. You're divine." My heart sank. I clicked into the thread. Dozens of chats. Men, women, compliments, praise, arrangements, pictures. This wasn't a one-time slip-up. This was a lifestyle. A secret life that had been going on right under my nose. And in every single message, she invoked me. Jake knows but stays out of it. Translation. Jake had no idea, and she was determined to keep it that way. I felt like I didn't exist to her. Worse, I was a prop. A useful illusion she used to gain entry into that world. The silent husband. The believable lie. That was the moment I understood there would be no confrontation. I wasn't going to yell or cry. I was going to dismantle the entire fantasy she'd built. I started paying attention. Closely. No reactions. No change in behavior. Just study. She had once used an old backup tool on her Android that still linked to our shared Google account. She had forgotten about it. I hadn't. Within an hour, I had full access. Texts, photos, names, locations. What unfolded was an entirely separate life. Hotels I'd never heard of, strangers she called friends, lingerie I'd never seen her wear, and in every image, she looked alive in a way she never did at home. I wasn't her husband. I was a character she played to gain access to something else. I retraced all her writing retreats and girls' weekends. Every single one lined up with those events. 8 times. Each time my name was there, listed like I'd personally RSVP'd. Some of her emails even implied I'd supported her. I hadn't. But now I pretended I did because I'd realized something powerful. Staying calm was a weapon. That week I kept pretending. Let her think I was still in the dark. Let her keep lying. Because I was preparing for something she never expected, truth with receipts. And when it all came crashing down, She wouldn't be able to twist it or deny it. She wouldn't even see it coming. I wanted to make things right. I told her I knew I'd been emotionally distant and that I wanted to reconnect, to find our way back to each other. Her eyes welled up as she pulled me into a tight embrace, whispering how much she needed to hear that. "You've always been my anchor," she said softly. But as she said those words, my hands were busy under the blanket, scrolling through the hidden phone she thought I'd never find. I smiled, not because her words moved me, but because I understood something deeper. Anchors don't just hold ships steady. They also drag them down. I had gathered everything. Chat histories, voice memos, GPS logs, images, months of meticulous documentation. I sorted the evidence into 3 distinct packages. One for her family and closest friends. One for her workplace's HR and ethics board. And the third for the private community she deceived to gain access to. Each version was customized to reveal a specific layer of her double life. I didn't want to just out her. I wanted to dismantle the carefully curated image she'd built. I started with an anonymous email she couldn't trace, sent to her sister, her parents, and her 3 closest friends. The subject line was simple: "You deserve the truth about her." Attached was a PDF with screenshots, timelines, and the kind of photos she was sure would never see daylight. By the next morning, she was sipping coffee at the table, aimlessly scrolling through Instagram like it was just another day. But I had already listened to the voicemail from her sister, which had synced through the cloud app one quietly installed on her phone. "You lied to all of us, Claire. You used Jake like a prop. I'm disgusted." Her mother didn't say a word. She simply removed Claire from the family WhatsApp group. One of her best friends posted a cryptic quote about betrayal and how it often hides behind trendy words like freedom and empowerment. Around 3 p.m., she looked up from her phone and said, "Something weird is going on. Everyone's acting strange." I shrugged. "Maybe they finally see who you are." She laughed, thinking I was joking. But the laughter wouldn't last. The next blow came from her job. She worked in community outreach at a prominent nonprofit, an organization built on transparency and trust. I sent HR a stripped-down version of the evidence, leaving out anything explicit, but making it clear she had used work trips as cover for personal escapades. 2 days later, they responded. Her external duties were suspended pending a review. Translation: she was no longer safe to represent them. That night, she came home looking exhausted. "Something's happening at work," she muttered. I kept folding laundry. "Yeah," I said. "That's called accountability." Then came the final collapse. She joined a private group where trust, honesty, and informed consent were non-negotiable. I sent the moderators the chat logs, especially the part where she wrote, "Jake doesn't need to know everything." Their response was swift and final. Permanent ban. No discussion, no appeal. She was cut off from every affiliated group and social space. She tried reaching out. No one answered. That evening, she just sat on the couch, staring at her phone. "I don't get it," she whispered. "Everyone's shutting me out." I leaned against the doorway. "Because they finally know the truth. The real truth. Not the polished version you fed them." Tears filled her eyes. "Jake, what did you do?" "Only what you earned," I said calmly. She tried to speak again, but I stopped her. "You didn't just cheat. You manipulated. You erased me so you could have a secret life. You wore my name like a disguise." She had no comeback. There was nothing left to defend. A few days later, she moved out. No dramatic goodbyes, no second chances. She left with a suitcase, a storage bin, and a small container labeled essentials. It was the quietest departure I've ever witnessed. Her social media went dark not long after, but not before the comments rolled in. Disappointment, disbelief, people telling her she'd used me as a shield to justify her lies, that she couldn't preach honesty while hiding a double life. Her reputation crumbled. She wasn't fired from her job, but she was reassigned. No more public speaking, no more panels. Just background tasks. A friend of a friend told me her new supervisor flagged her in HR as a reputational risk. That label hit her harder than anything I could have said. And the people she had secretly been involved with? She thought they'd support her. But when they found out she'd lied about my consent, they disappeared. One message in particular stood out. You lied about your marriage. That makes you unsafe to be around. She became the cautionary tale, the one no one wanted to be associated with. Her influence vanished. And me? I found peace. I didn't scream. I didn't post anything online. I never asked people to take sides. I simply let the truth do its work. I stayed in our house, kept my job, and most importantly, I kept my integrity. I started therapy, not because I was broken, but because I refused to carry her destruction into my next chapter. I sleep alone now, but it's peaceful. I don't lie awake wondering what else is being hidden. People assume revenge is loud and dramatic. But real revenge is subtle. It's the silence after the storm. It's when someone stands alone, left with nothing but the truth they spent years trying to hide. That's where she is now. No mask, no applause, just the rubble of her own making. She used my loyalty as a shield, twisted my name into a tool, told others I was part of her fantasy. I wasn't. I was never even invited. I was just used. And once I saw that clearly, I stopped grieving. I took my voice back. I reclaimed my self-respect. Because love doesn't mean tolerating betrayal. It means knowing when to stop someone from rewriting your story. If you're reading this and something in your gut feels off, trust it. If someone tries to make you feel crazy for wanting honesty, remember, you're not the problem. Plan your exit in silence. Act with precision. Because when betrayal hides behind your loyalty, the most powerful thing you can do is speak the truth. Then walk away without looking back. That's exactly what I did. I didn't destroy her. She did that on her own. And I walk forward not because I won, but because I refused to drown with her.